Hey y'all, Sean here, Coach Bixley, back at it again. We're going to talk today about a topic that I've looked at a few different ways. Thought about titling this thing "Not Normal." I thought about titling this thing "Real Recognize Real." Basically, whenever we go through life, we come across individuals that we identify as being outside of ordinary. Uh, how can we break down what makes them different? What characteristics can we look for in these individuals? And how can we try to emulate them, put them into our lives? And then, from the standpoint of being one of those individuals, because you're one of those individuals, that
So you're saying I'm not normal? That's
I'm
great,
saying
man.
you're not
Appreciate
normal
it.
in
Yeah.
the
Okay.
most positive way possible. But when you are one of these individuals, how do you deal with the fact that you're surrounded by people who are not like you?
Yeah. I think you develop the mindset of recognition pretty quickly that you just do things differently,
Yeah.
right? You can definitely understand this because as a state champion cross country runner, right? First of all, cross country runners are wired way differently than any other human on the planet. Um, People who enjoy running
It's
long
self-masochism.
distances.
It,
Yeah. But the point is, I think you just recognize what other people are doing. Like, what's the norm? So, when you're in high school, for example, the norm is, let's go to the party after the game.
yeah.
Let's drink, alcohol. Let's, take drugs, maybe. Let's whatever it is that individuals do at that age. And it was funny because my father tricked me
Mm.
at the time, and he said, "Look, let's just make this deal that as long as you're in training for a sport, you don't touch the stuff. No alcohol, no
Y-
nothing, right?"
Year-round training helped out just fine.
Yeah, and so quickly I realized, oh wow, I'm just playing basketball, but it is year round,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so that was the deal. So I think that when you have such a focus on what you are doing, and I think the reason why you have the focus on what you are doing is because there's a passion attached
Mm.
to it,
Yeah.
then it's actually easier to give that stuff up than people probably realize.
When you have something in your life that you're specific and you're focused on, it's easy to more or less put the blinders up to the things that are going to be a distraction from that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And like I would rather, just this sounds like such a nerd thing, right? But I would rather be in the gym on a Friday night.
Mm.
I'm talking in the off season, right?
Yeah.
Typically on Friday nights you have games, but like in the off season, getting shots up and trying to get better than being at the party, hanging out with everybody. Which look, there's nothing wrong with going and being social,
Yeah.
nothing at all, right? I just think that when you are when you have tunnel vision
Hmm.
and you know what it is that you want to accomplish,
Hmm.
um, you would rather be doing things that are getting you closer to that
Yeah.
than anything else.
Yeah.
That's fun to people who are in that frame of mind at the time.
Whenever you're in those moments, let's just go back to the Friday nights in the gym,
Yep.
instead of out. In those moments, what are you picturing? Are you thinking specifically about competition coming up? Are you thinking about your opponents? What's going through your mind in those
Man,
moments?
I'm just in the gym.
Yeah.
And I'm playing, sure, I'm playing the games. I'm playing visualization games. I'm acting like people are guarding me. But oftentimes, as crazy as this sounds, I wasn't thinking about the teams that I was fixing to play. I was thinking about um, I'm playing against Larry Bird,
Mm.
or I'm playing against Magic Johnson, or I'm playing against Dr. J, like my heroes,
Yeah.
right? Um, and I did this all the way into high school,
Hmm.
and so I had I had fun with it because my imagination took me all over the place with it. But again, because it was my passion,
Yeah.
right? And so, look, I'll flip that question on you. What in the world are you thinking when you're out running at
It,
4 o'clock in the morning? Mile after mile.
which was this morning, just about.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Actually, my answer now is a lot different than when I was younger. When I was younger, I was more I hate to say a chip on my shoulder, but I came from a different point of view, and my mindset is completely different now. And I wish I had the mindset now back then. I'm sorry, I wish I had the mindset back then that I have now. Now I'm coming from a place of gratitude, and that ties into a topic that we're going to be discussing coming up, I know soon with you with habits and such. But this is something about having that attitude of gratitude, being grateful for the opportunity to actually run or uh, put the work in, strength training, cycling, swimming, whatever it is. But knowing how fortunate we are to live where we are, know that we have the abilities that we have, because I mean, let's face it, we're surrounded daily by individuals who don't have the abilities to do the things that we do. Now, granted, some of that may be because of decisions they've made, some of it may be just because of a bad hand that's been dealt to them. Regardless of the point, if I do this from an attitude of, hey, you know what? I'm fortunate and blessed to have this. I've been given this body and it's my job to take care of it. It makes it so much easier to do these things.
I just finished a book called "Don't Believe Everything You Think."
Hmm.
It's by Joseph Nguyen. So I don't want to plagiarize anything from what he did. It's a pretty amazing book and a dive into the idea of actually not thinking. Thoughts exist, we know, right? Um, but the idea of not living in this process of thinking through everything before it even happens.
Hmm.
And he talks about the idea of doing things on a daily basis out of inspiration instead of desperation.
Okay.
And so when he's talking desperation, now look, we all know, people watching this know, you can get a lot done out of desperation.
Hmm.
You can get a whole lot of stuff done. The problem with desperation is um, there's always something tied to what you are doing,
Mm.
right? Whether it's money, whether it's status, whether it's stuff, whatever it is, right? There's something tied to it at the end, as opposed to just doing something because it inspires you. And then those other things actually just become a byproduct
Oh, that's good.
of it,
That's
right?
good. Yeah.
And so a big part of this for me is when you have a passion, and this is not normal for sure. So
No
if
doubt.
we title this not normal, this is what it is. Um, when you are super passionate about something, a lot of the have tos turn into get tos,
Yep. Yep.
right? And I know that's not the first time that you've heard that, or I've said it, or other people have heard it, but um, when you think about as an athlete, so for example, whenever I play ball, I didn't enjoy the conditioning aspect of it, okay, but I did love what the conditioning allowed me to do
Hmm.
on game night.
And
So
that helps you maintain a mindset when you're going through what is obvious discomfort, what is not fun. You still get something out of it, not this enjoyment, but it's like, hey, this is leading to a significant result. And that result does not happen if I don't endure and take care of business right here and right now.
well, what it does is when you go have success because of it,
Hmm.
it's not just that you're okay doing more of it. And it's not necessarily, it's like, man, I can't wait to condition, but you embrace it a lot more,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And the idea of, as opposed to complaining and it being a negative thing all the time, it comes down to, I got to get this done
Yep.
because I want that feeling
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
right? And I know you've experienced that for sure.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll take it a step further. I think that there are a lot of individuals who think that, okay, if I have to adopt this mindset, then I need to just stop sleeping completely. I just need to shut out all
Yeah.
relationships completely, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I think you'll agree with that. The way I look at it is, if we're going to be not normal, what that really means is we got to learn to say no to some things,
Yes.
and so saying no to things so that you can say yes to things that are more important in your life.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I know you're up at 4 a.m. I'm the same way, and that's something that we're passionate about, and that means we're saying no to staying up later doing things which are going to make us less able to be who we need to be when we wake up during in the morning.
Yeah, and you think about, and we'll get to a little bit of this whenever we get to habits, probably in the next pod. But like, why do we wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock? It's not simply because it's a discipline thing. It gives us more time
Yep.
in the
Yep.
day to get
Yep.
things done,
Yep.
right? Um, and if we have a passion, which this is a passion of ours, right?
Hmm.
We need more time
Hmm.
in order to get things accomplished. So when people say, oh, I wish there were more hours in the day, and they're getting up at 8 o'clock, man, there are more hours in the
Well,
day.
just
Go
take
find
advantage of
them.
them. Yeah, take advantage of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I do have a question for you, and I think that it's very relevant to this. If if you look at, okay, again, let's go back to have tos versus get tos. If you look at your list of have tos, which could be extremely long
Hmm.
if you wanted to, right?
Yeah.
Um, how do you go about changing some of those have tos into get tos, and I'll use this as an example. So your happy place, uh, an activity that you do by yourself,
Mhm.
okay, or maybe with your family, okay. What's an example of something like that?
By myself is cycling, being on my bike
Cycling.
for
Okay,
sure.
so that feeling that you get from that, is it possible to take some of the have tos of your professional workday
Hmm.
and turn some of those to generate that same feeling that you get when you're cycling? Do you think?
Yes, I think there's a couple different ways to do it. One way that's worked well for me is that I'll just be blunt. Cycling is not a cheap sport,
Right.
and so I get to cycle because things I've done things professionally that allow me to.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like a flipping of the script where the things that I have to do professionally, first off, I love what I do professionally. Just like you said, it takes an interesting wiring to be a runner. It takes an interesting wiring to be a dentist, but I'm incredibly passionate about what I do. And so I absolutely love most of what I do, but there are still the have tos associated with the career. But those have tos, it's it's easier than I think people realize to switch those to the get to list when you realize by getting those things done, that creates more time and more opportunities to do the things that I truly love, like cycling or competing in triathlons or traveling with my family, hiking with my family, things like that.
So, getting back to being passionate about being a dentist. So, for our viewers right now, my youngest daughter, Kaylin, is an aspiring dentist. She wants to go to dental school, and she shadowed you a few times. So she comes in the other night after a day of shadowing you, and you did some crazy procedure, and she couldn't stop talking about it, and she's rambling on and on and on about all this, and speaking a language that I can't understand, obviously. And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm talking to female Sean right now." Like she,
There is no higher honor for me to be referred to as the male Kalen Pixley.
but it was incredible. And the reason why I bring it up is okay. So you're passionate about that, and your passion for that um, is very, very felt
Mm,
by people in the room who are maybe trying to figure out what they want to do,
mm.
such as Kaylin in that regard. And she came in and she was like, "This is exactly what I want to do."
So it's really cool you bring that. So this is the first time we've talked about
And by
this.
the way, she's not normal at all.
So that's where I'm
Right?
going with this.
Yeah.
That I think it's really cool. So yeah, Kaylin has been incredible to work with. She's got a fantastic work ethic, incredible intelligence, and incredible ability to pick up on something that she's never learned about for much less seen and just kind of go with the flow. But she's one of those individuals I can sit down and have a conversation about these high level things, and she goes along with it because she's not normal, because she is a different wavelength. I used to send my joke that you could see it in somebody's eyes, and I mean, I'm not trying to be corny about it, but when you see someone that you're talking to and you're engaging with, and they're making eye contact with you,
Yep.
and they're staying with you every single step of the way, they're not distracted by a phone, they're not looking off in the distance of the car driving by, they're locked in
Hmm.
on what you're talking about. There's a mutual energy that develops,
Yeah.
and it carries on throughout the day. And what I love is when I get to experience time with individuals like that,
Right.
because
Because they're not a bunch of them.
there's not.
Right.
I've got a list of five. I've
Yeah.
got it's a tight, small community, and when you come across one, the charge that I get for the rest of the day that excites me to go in and do the rest that I'm doing, I mean, it's palpable.
Yeah.
It's exciting, and
That's awesome.
I used to be an extrovert, and I semi joke that by having to perform all day in my career and then in coaching high school track, that I'm turning into an introvert because I just want to be alone for 5 minutes
Yeah.
sometimes. But coming across individuals who have that like-minded feel about things and they're passionate about their pursuits, and maybe even if it's something that I'm not passionate about,
Yeah.
I'm not passionate about becoming an elite scorer or coaching elite scorers in basketball. But when I talk to you about what you do with the college and professional athletes that you coach, just listening to you and watching your animation, it inspires me and
Right.
fires me up. And
Right.
so I think one of the things that I challenge our viewers to do as they're walking through life is to seek out these growth-minded individuals and spend as much time with them as possible. Because even if you're not passionate about or inspired by the same concepts, activities, professions, it doesn't matter because you're going to walk away with something from those experiences and conversations and moments with these individuals that you'll be able to take and put into whatever it is that you do. And that's going to be an energy that you can breed into the next environment that you enter.
And it's such a great point because even though it's pretty obvious that I'm probably not into the arts or mute or like singing or playing an instrument or things like that, but I know when I see somebody do that with excellence,
Yeah.
like I am drawn to it.
Yes.
A, because I wish I could do it,
Yeah.
right? But B, because I have to imagine the level of work that went into doing that, the level of sacrifice
Hmm.
and what they gave up in order to be able to accomplish that and to be as good as they are at
Dude,
that, right?
there so much of society glorifies the end result, and so little society focuses on the specifics, the basics,
Yeah,
the fundamentals that went into building that because that didn't happen overnight, and that didn't happen as a result of one big massive effort.
that's right.
It's just that compounding effect of little tiny daily efforts that eventually lead to those big massive results at the end of the day.
And speaking of a massive result that is not normal for
I
sure,
think I know where you're going with this.
um, we would like to thank Mr. Not Normal himself, Dwayne Johnson, for creating the most abnormal
What
energy drink known to man.
what flavor you got there?
This is cherry limeade, I believe. Yep, it's a solid. There are no bad ones. First of all,
What was it you were telling me about just now a second ago? It was like a straight
green
up
apple.
green apple.
Green apple's a new flavor. Got it the other day. Phenomenal. And he had the dude just keeps on doing it, man.
Keep
So
crushing it.
okay, so uh, kind of in wrapping this up, okay, when we talk about the concept of not being normal, when you hear it in society, oftentimes that is not normal or that is abnormal or that is it's always viewed negatively,
Yeah,
right? Um, would you agree also that people who are viewed as really successful but they're not normal, okay, are judged by those who are unwilling to do whatever it was that they did to get to that point,
absolutely.
right?
Then they are because it's I think it's so hard for certain individuals to wrap their mind around sacrificing all those things. And then honestly, this might not be well received, but I think there's a lot of jealousy amongst individuals
Yes.
who are either unwilling to put themselves out there, they're scared to,
Yep.
or they're afraid of judgment.
And you brought up a great point a while back, and you said it's not about giving up relationships. It's not about giving up time where it needs to be spent. Although there are people all over the world who make billions and billions of dollars who have basically abandoned their families
Hmm.
and pour everything that they have into their work and they don't worry about anything else. That is not what we are talking
Not at
about.
all.
Not at all, right? In fact, less normal than that is being able to pour into everything that you're
Yeah.
doing when you're doing it, but still, when you have that time with the people that you're actually doing those things for,
Yeah.
you are able to flip the switch and be present with them. Something that I struggle with, okay, at times, right? Where, I have a day that my schedule is full. I'm go, 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 go. It takes me some time whenever I get home at times to be able to turn all that off
Hmm.
and be there. My wife called me on it a couple weeks ago. She's like, I don't feel like you're here right now.
Hmm.
And I need to hear that.
That's great to be in a relationship with someone who's where it's okay to say that because I think it's really easy when you're driven and you have that tunnel vision to it's easy to slip into routines and to have someone who can say, "Hey, look, snap back. You're in this moment. Let's go ahead and be present in this moment." That's great.
So when people say, and I hear it all the time, work-life balance is not a thing. Okay, but it doesn't mean that life, family, loved ones, they shouldn't have to suffer or
Mm.
take a back seat. I do not believe that. I will not believe that. And we're not
Yep.
at TLW, we're not going to buy into that. I think that's an out. I think that's an out that
Yep.
people give themselves where they're like, you know what? It's not normal. I'm grinding. I'm working. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm providing for them. This, that, the other. Yeah, man. But they're they want you.
Yeah.
when you're there. And I'm just not going to accept the fact when people say there is no such thing as work-life balance. Okay, first of all, there is no such thing as work-life balance, period, for anybody in any industry. You want to know why? Because when you get up and go to work at, let's call it 8, 9 o'clock, and you're gone till 5, you've already spent more time at work than you
Yeah.
have with your
Yep.
family.
Yep.
Okay. So why in the world can't you give to your family for those hours that you were there?
You know, I think that's so such a wise, well-spoken thought, and I think that if we take it a step further, talking about book recommendations, I'm gonna throw another one out there. Gary Keller, he helped start Keller Williams. So you want to talk about somebody who understands how hard it is to do work-life balance.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's got arguably one of the biggest real estate firms in the country. He wrote a book called The One Thing. And really quick, the premise behind The One Thing is if you're looking for work-life balance, you can have it, but there's going to be a constant ebb and flow that happens where there's going to be times you're going to have a meeting late. And yeah, that's time that you could have spent with your family, but it doesn't mean that you have to go to every single meeting
That's
late.
right.
There is a give and take to where you just need to be intentional and purposeful about carving out time to help out with offsetting. I don't want to say make up for
Right.
because I don't think there's a such thing as we make up for lost time.
Right.
I think that's a myth, but you can be intentional about, okay, because of this, I will take time to do this and make sure I don't miss this with family if work came for this, or vice versa. Because at the end of the day, we talk about the importance of providing.
Mhm.
To provide, you got to be at some point taking care of things professionally, work related to take care of everybody else in the house.
That's right. And you talk about we need to be able to say no a little bit more often.
Yes.
Just keep in mind that every night that you stay late for things that you probably could wait till the next day,
Mhm.
every night that you decide to, you know, go grab a drink with a buddy of yours right after work, every night that you decide, or every weekend that you decide I'm going to go play, you know, 36 holes of golf. And I'm not saying anything about people who go and play golf, for example, right? I'm just saying every time you make that decision, you in a sense are saying no
Mhm.
to the people that you're spending most of your time away from
As it is
anyhow,
anyways. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
finding that balance is super, super important. So let's close here. If you had to leave our viewers with one thing just to hang on to from a standpoint of what we mean by not normal, what
Yeah.
would it be?
Um, I would first off leave with if this resonates with you, we're describing these personality characteristics which that make up an individual who not normal, growth minded. We have all these different ways of describing it that resonates with you. Awesome. Don't shy away from that. Press into it. You have passions. If you have things that you can create tunnel vision around, that's a beautiful thing. Embrace it. Consider yourself lucky because how few Americans have a passion about something that they are willing to put themselves out there and chase 100%. Go with it. Also, know that not everybody is going to be your biggest fan.
That's right.
And we're not that you're not looking for cheerleaders in your life. I'm not looking for cheerleaders in my life. We know that some people may look at the effort, the work, what is involved with something, and because they don't have a passion for it, they can't understand it
Right.
and they may not agree with it. But at the end of the day, we're not doing it for them.
That's right.
I'm a firm believer that when the Lord puts a calling on your life, it is your job to fill that calling to the best of your ability. And when you do it to the best of your ability, he comes alongside you and brings that effort level to a whole different level of result because of what he does through us.
No doubt. With that said, signing off, TLW podcast, Sean Owens, Jonathan Pixley. Go get it.